friends. All right, so this first section is a highway, and though it is a slower highway, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear me or not. It does get pretty windy. But I got my buddy Papal with me today. He's on my 2009 Nightster named Clevis. His bike has been down for the count for some time now, so whenever he wants to ride, I let him ride Clevis. So eventually Clevis will be going out to Grand Junction to my boyfriend's house, and it'll stay there for the winter because it's a lot warmer down there. And so if I want to ride with my boyfriend, we can just hop on Clevis and his road glide and hit the road. Not have to worry about bringing Raven from Rifle. Clevis does have a much smaller tank, so we're gonna stop in the back, top off for him before headed into the mountains. So we ran into an issue. Technically we ran into it the last time Papa rode my bike, but I kind of forgot about it. One of the speakers was trying to come off, and so we have zip tied it on for the day thanks to my friend Danielle. Shout out to her. Got it fixed, and now we're gonna head up to Collbran. You too.
Same bike?
Yep. Yeah, my boyfriend's got the same, the Whiskey Fire. So he's got a trunk. I'm gonna get one for our longer trip.
Tell you what, when that wind blows out,
oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's when they come in real handy. All right. So the do's and don'ts and things that I learned on our 10-day trip across 8 states and over 3,600 miles. What did I learn? Well, first and foremost, planning a trip where you're gonna go to so many different places and temperatures and climates is rough. I learned to pack less and more of the essentials and just do like laundry more often. For example, I basically brought enough clothes for a week because we were going to be gone for up to 2 full weeks, and it was like, okay, well, I can do laundry, once, maybe twice on the trip. And if I were to do the same trip over again, I would do like 3 days worth of clothes and just do laundry more often, but then more of the essentials. So like utilizing my rain gear, maybe different types of layers or gloves or, things like that. Because what happened is that we were, leaving Colorado where it was still kind of cold, but warming up. And then we went north to Washington and then followed the coast down south. And the Pacific Northwest is rainy, and we were nearing the better part of the season, but then we were going to head south where it was going to be super hot in the desert. And so I basically, planned enough for a week, but also with extra layers for north and less for the south. And then I still had my chaps, and I still had rain gear, and I still had a tool roll and all this type of stuff. And so one of my biggest takeaways is that I would take say 3 t-shirts, 1 like long sleeve sun shirt, just to protect myself from the sun in the desert, or the sleeves, which I meant to put on our last stop and totally forgot. And then probably like a flannel and a hoodie, but definitely less. And then I would also use my rain gear more. I ended up in situations, and I do this all the time to myself, where I don't think I'm gonna need my rain gear, and so I'll be cruising along, and then I'll be stuck somewhere where I can't do anything about it, and then I'm getting soaked. And I was better on this trip, at least with my jacket, but I was not so great with my rain pants. And one of the reasons is because in the mornings I was cold, and so I wanted my chaps, but then I put my rain pants over top of that, and I just started feeling really constricted. And so instead of you know, just dealing with being cold for a little while or changing out at one of our stops, I just wore my chaps. And as you guys saw on that day that we went from Forks, Washington down to Seaside, Oregon, like, I was miserable. And the other thing that I needed are waterproof gloves. So the gloves that I was wearing on that same day are supposed to be waterproof, but they're more of a snow type waterproof versus a pouring rain. So they soak through really fast. So what I have gotten since then, and they're with my rain gear in my saddlebag right now, because it says there's a chance of rain tonight, but I don't really see that happening. But they're gauntlet gloves that are just waterproof. Like, they're just meant for rain gear, just like my jacket and my pants, and so they can go over any of my gloves, whether they're thinner summer gloves, whether they're thicker winter gloves, and I can just throw them on over whatever gloves I'm wearing, and they don't take up a lot of space, especially because I'm already having rain pants and a rain jacket with me all the time. So that is two things, I guess, that I've definitely learned is one, less is more, pack the essentials and just do laundry more often. Almost every hotel that we stayed at had laundry of some sort. Then two, wear your rain gear. Just wear it. You'll be miserable otherwise, like we were on that, what was that, day 4, I think is what it was. Just absolutely miserable. Also, I learned a lot about like what camera gear to bring and how I want to pack it and things like that. I'm a photographer first and a motovlogger second. So I always want to take my big professional camera with me on places that are new especially. I have learned that if I've been to the same place over and over that I don't need to bring my camera every time. Phones are great nowadays for just everyday photos, and I tend to live my life behind my camera if I have it all the time. I don't bring it all the time. Like today's an example. I've been on this Tibet cutoff so many times and it's beautiful, but I have zero plans to stop and take pictures on it. If I do, I've got my phone and I've got my Instas. Whew. A little rough back here today. Also, motovlogging is new to me, and knowing what gear I'm going to be using on what type of trips is something that I'm still very much learning to this day. But I did learn on the trip that we took that, again, kind of less is more. I feel like I brought more than what I needed, and I was fumbling a lot. So I have started figuring out what I use on what type of trip. That is another part that I did learn, and I'm still learning. I still think there's things in my bags that I probably don't need to carry with me every time I go on a trip, but right now they're super useful. One of those things being I have a charger for the Ace 2 Pro, and it actually charges the batteries. Like it's a battery pack, and I probably don't need that on a day like today, but I don't have a whole lot of batteries for my Ace Pro 2. I'm still figuring that out, but less is more, again, even in camera gear. Take the things that you know you're going to use, couple mount, tons of batteries and SD cards, and then you're good. Like everything else can be either done on a phone or batteries can be charged, plugged into the bike, those types of things. So that was definitely something I learned. I also learned that I would like to have a tour pack, especially on a trip like that where you plan on buying shirts from Harley dealerships or other souvenir type stuff. All I had was my sissy bar and a luggage rack. Then Levi had his tour pack and a backpack. I have two things that I'm doing. One of them, Levi built me a tour pack case for all of my camera gear, and that way it can be locked and it can be protected and locked to the bike and all that kind of fun stuff. So that would help clear up some space in my saddlebags, because I did have like no room between layers. I had my rain gear and my chaps, I had camera gear, I had a water bottle. There were several times that I had snacks, because you always need snacks. So getting my camera gear out of there and into a tour pack of sorts is a great option. And I can still, using my rock strap down my duffel bag. That is something that has happened since that trip that I'm very grateful for. And then we have, go around this curve here. There's always a little bit of gravel in these turns. And then we have like the regular quick release tour pack, which I've always wanted for this bike for multi-day trips. I want to be able to, if I want to, like lock up my helmet if I'm in a big city, or camera gear or whatever that I feel like I need to have locked. So I've always wanted one, but it was definitely more obvious that I needed more space for things on this trip. And again, I'm still learning. I mean, there's probably a lot of stuff that I don't need to take with me, and I'm still learning all of that. Whew, that was a big bump. Another thing that I learned that might be a little niche to people with Android phones and 24 plus road glides, just get a good phone mount for your handlebars. The Android auto boxes, some people love them. I have now tried 2 of them, and the one that I had on our trip kept cutting out on us. I was getting really frustrated. It had all these great reviews, but we would be in the middle of a city that I didn't know in horrible traffic, and I'd just be trying to stay with Levi because it would cut out, and my phone would still recognize it as Android Auto, so it wouldn't just like switch to having a map. Like I said, kind of niche, but if you have an Android phone and one of these newer bikes, just get yourself a good handlebar mount for your phone. I use the quad lock, kind of a Frankenstein version of it with some RAM mount stuff, and it has worked wonders. Got the vibration dampener and the charger. I can see my maps, like I've got them up here. Yes, I gotta look down a little bit more than I would if I had it on my screen, but I would rather have to look down just a little further than be fighting my bike in the middle of a city like LA where I have no idea where I'm at, trying to follow somebody and just hoping we didn't get cut off. Because there was a point where we did get cut off and I had to hurry up around a car before I lost him. He was not going very fast, but car cut between us and I was just terrified, to be completely honest. So I had no idea where we were going. This town we're going to, it's been a few years since I've been up here. And the GPS originally wanted to take me on a route that is a dirt road, and I was like, yeah, no, not on these bikes. When I get my dual sport, whether that's a Pan America or a true dual sport, then I will, especially because the road we would have had to take up, it's called Mud Hill, and it's typically like washboard and rutted out. I think another thing that I really learned on this trip is doing big ones like that where you get to get a bunch of miles and see a big part of the country are great, but you also need to give yourself enough time to take it all in. That was one thing that both Levi and I felt that we did not get enough of, was just enjoying and sightseeing and doing all of those types of things. But things that I would do again, let's go that route. My setup for like my duffel bag and such was perfect. My duffel bag is like a 40 liter with lots of pockets and organization. The material and the zippers are water resistant. I have a Saddleman's road sofa and I have a seat cover for it to help protect it on sunny days and everything from fading and getting damaged. Well, that cover actually doubles as my duffel bag cover for the rain. So what I would do is I would cover the seat at night, but when the duffel bag's on the back seat, I would just put the cover over top of it, and it almost perfectly fits the duffel bag, and so it protected my stuff from the rain, especially on that day 4 where it was just a lot. That's one thing that I would do again, is like that setup is perfect. I did end up getting rock straps after the trip. I was just using like an 18-inch bungee net, and I did get rock straps afterwards. Her 2 wheels, she uses them all the time and recommends them, and so I decided to give them a try, and I have done a couple overnighters since then, and chef's kiss, love it. I'm actually buying some more for us because we got one set and I'm going to get another set for Levi to have on hand. So that setup I would totally do again. Now that I have that little makeshift tour pack for my camera gear, I actually can still use the same setup but using the rock straps instead to still be able to do the same setup, which I think is perfect for me. And I'll be able to do the same thing with the tour pack. So as I was saying before my camera so rudely died on me, I would just do sections more. Levi and I have talked about trailering our bikes back out to the Pacific Northwest, picking a spot to be like home base, and just riding all over the state and doing some sightseeing that maybe we can't ride to either. I am the type of person that I would rather just hop on the bikes from home and then go and get that mileage and get that experience, but Levi is not able to take that type of time off. And I want to be able to experience all of these things with him. So that's more important to me. So if that means trailering out, I will trailer out. He works away from home and gets limited time off, so I want him to enjoy that. And I can always do more like solo major road trips on my own too. We have talked about doing that, going back out to the Pacific Northwest, because there is so much that we missed that we wanted to do, both in Washington and in Oregon. Even if it's where we take duffel bags and say we leave the trailer for a night and we go a little farther and have to get a hotel, okay, fine. But it is what it is. But we want to go back and explore more. I know there was one pass that I was told about just outside of Portland that is like a motorcycles haven that I would love to go back to, because we did not get to do it this trip. We ended up skipping Portland entirely because that day that it rained so much. Similarly, like I really want to do the entire Highway 1 from top to bottom. There was 2 spots that it was closed. South of Big Sur, there was, I forget what the bridge name is called, but there was a giant landslide that they are still working on almost 2 years later. And you can go down basically to that spot, but then you got to turn around and go around the mountain. And then also down by where the Palisades fire was, I believe it's open down in Malibu and such, but I just have too much respect. We get wildfires here in Colorado all the time. We just had one that threatened the town of Meeker nearby and was heading south to Rifle where I'm at, and I just have too much respect for the people that have to deal with that type of devastation. And so we decided to not even go near it. Instead, we took Highway 101 into town, and that's totally fine, but I do want to go back and do the entire thing. And I don't think that that's something that Levi will go with me, but it might be something that I come out and I like trailer our bikes, and maybe, you know, we do some evening rides after he's done with work for a few days, and then I go do my own ride, and then I do the top to bottom, and then I come back and spend some time with him before coming back to Colorado, because he does work quite often in California. So that's a definite possibility. So we got here and there's a sign that says "Gone Fishing."
We were going to leave and go up to Mesa, Colorado. There's a restaurant there called the Wagon Wheel that I have been to before that's really good. But as we were leaving town, we passed this restaurant, so we decided to just stop and give that a try. It's almost 3:30, so we're both really hungry and decided to give it a try. The owner was here and welcomed us. We just got our order in. We're gonna give it a try, and I'll let you guys know how it is. We got our food, and he got some sort of sandwich, and I got mac and cheese with pulled pork.
Both of our meals were quite good, a little different than what we expected, but it's good food. Definitely would keep this as an option anytime that I happen to come back up to Collbran. We're gonna hop back on bikes and make our way home. So y'all may have noticed my shirt. I am repping my favorite Harley-Davidson here in Colorado. They are Sun Harley-Davidson down in Thornton. I have had my best experience at a Harley at that one. It's where I bought Raven. I had been searching. I wanted a blacked out white Onyx Pearl bike and found one at Sun. And honestly, I'm so glad, because Papa Joe down there treated me as if I was family. He was answering Levi's questions for weeks ahead of time. We got an appointment set up at one point. It was about 2 weeks out before I could go down and make this all happen. And so we did my pre-approval over the phone, and they put a sold tag on it, and he sent me the picture of it. I went down about 2 weeks later, and he not only took care of me as his customer and Levi, you know, to my friend Tia, who drove me down there. The customer service that he gave us was just beyond amazing. And then when I took it down for the 1,000-mile service and Joe recognized me, he was super thrilled to, you know, finally meet Levi in person. And then for the 5,000-mile service right after our Let's Go West trip. And so he saw me, greeted me, made sure I got food, and then I was hanging out. He just kind of saw me wandering around with my backpack, my helmet and stuff, and Joe comes up to me and checks on me and asks if I want to stash my stuff at his desk and hide it back there so I'm not carrying it around. And I was just like, Joe is the sweetest man, and he definitely made us feel like family and continues to do so. That's the place to go, and that is what I have been telling everybody. I've been so happy with the customer service that we have received at Sun Harley, and especially by Joe. I've had good service from the service department, parts department, clothing. Like, everybody has been fabulous, but Joe is really above and beyond. Shameless plug for Sun Harley-Davidson. If you are in Colorado or Denver area, it is worth the trip to visit them.
Hey everyone, so my camera died as we were finishing up the ride. I hope you enjoyed today's ride. I hope that what I had to share was useful. Also, I hope that you're enjoying the Let's Go West series. It was a huge learning experience for me, and I really enjoyed it, and I loved the trip, and I can't wait till I get an opportunity to go back to some of those locations and spend more time. But for tonight, I am going to go upload some footage and go to bed so that I can be ready for my full-time job tomorrow. Have a good night, y'all.